This story will cover from then to now and next, all about change, how to turn losers into winners. This magnificent bird of prey is famous across Africa, and Kenya supports one of the biggest concentrations on the continent. It's the African fish eagle, well equipped for fishing with hooks at one end and an efficient beak at the other. Plus superb eyesight. The call of the African fish eagle is as famous as the bird itself, as it's become a vital indicator about the health of its home, especially around Lake Naivasha.
And these birds haven't been fed all day, so...
These are eagle detectives, Shiv Kapila and Simon Thompson, and they and a team have been studying the ups and downs and ups here for many years. From the fastest to the most powerful and the very well studied, to those that clean up, that can fish as well as any fisherman, that can soar with ease or probe with great skill and watch with an eagle's eye. They dive amongst us, amaze us with their techniques, be it with eggs or snakes, or dropping bones to break them. Birds of prey are as varied as they are important to the health of their home, that is, the country of Kenya. Their design is basically similar to our fish eagle, this one wearing ring BA, that's not British Airways, with feet and beak just right for the job of catching fish, or it's easier like this. Would you like to have a big eagle on your bird table? Tourists definitely do, bringing income to the area, well advertised by that unforgettable call. BA is threatened by a determined young fish eagle in its brown plumage. BA is just left with a few scraps. Fish eagle territories extend all along the lakeshore and are often fiercely guarded, literally. The famous cry may make the point though. So each pair of fish eagles battles it out by sound, and very little harm is done, although they certainly can be dangerous, as we'll see. And as a species, they may be at risk. There may be warnings from the wild. The condition of the lake is indicated not only by the pairs of eagles successfully breeding around its shore, but by the many other bird species that attract both tourists and local people. The pied kingfisher, by hovering like this, has in effect a mobile perch, with a steady head for spotting prey down below, and that prey provides another clue for the eagle detectives. In the wild, fish eagles don't just eat fish. They're powerful, flexible predators, and the local gulls know that, mobbing this pair to draw attention to the danger. cormorants, those most successful of fishermen, have safety in numbers and can dive or fly out of trouble, in this case double trouble. If there's something wrong with the lake, there could well be something also wrong with the kingfishers, cormorants and people, all part of the food web that connects fish with much else. The water from the lake is used by everyone for all sorts of things. Tilapia are good to eat. Or are they? Or are these children being poisoned somehow? The fish eagle might show the answers, as indeed may other birds of prey, depending on their food and where they live. And we ignore those warnings at our peril. Pollution can come from many sources. Runoff into the lake from a village. Or perhaps from a flower farm. Chemicals. Eagle evidence, perhaps. So many questions for the detectives. This is not a good place to be, as a boy or as a bird. Poisons kill people, but it's the birds that could save us if we share their secrets. The state of the lake may be revealed by the breeding success or not of the fish eagles here. 2 chicks is good news, and hopefully the parents will be feeding them on uncontaminated prey. To help with a long-running survey, international birds of prey experts come to count eagles and to try to find out how successful breeding is. In the past, eggs have failed to hatch due to poisoning, and those chemicals can be tracked back to the source. People who depend on the lake need to know about this, as do the polluters. Who are they? Village and town sewage? Flower and vegetable farms? Domestic rubbish? They're all possible suspects. And there are many witnesses in this very diverse place. Pelicans and many others eat fish, and what the fish contain can tell us what's in that water. Surveys from the air, if you like, an eagle's eye, examine a changing shoreline. Flower farms' poisonous runoff to the lake has often been questioned. Proof is needed. We've taken the famous African fish eagle as a typical design of a bird of prey, and it's important as an indicator species to scientists. There are many more of these raptors, and Kenya has lots of places for them to live. For Africa, Kenya is quite a small country, but it makes up for that by its marvellous diversity of landscapes. And from a bird of prey's eye view, and this is it, from bush country to river mouth, to mangrove, to seashore. Birds of all sorts come to Meader Creek for the rich pickings in the mud and sand of the tidal mangroves. Right now their feeding grounds are covered. These are crab plovers, which breed in Arabia. This habitat supports much life above and below the surface. This big ray is just one example of the slippery prey that a raptor like an osprey might be searching for in the creek. Ospreys occur in many parts of the world, fishing in creeks, lakes, rivers and the sea. Like the African fish eagle, their ups and downs may reveal the state of these places, some of which are linked by the osprey's migratory habits. Its adaptability has proved a success for the species, but being at the top of the aquatic food chain, it's always vulnerable. Its eyesight is brilliant, watching everything that moves below, like other fishermen. With their ropes, nets, hooks and traps. The osprey's equipment is built in, talons and hooked beaks for the job. So much for the seaside. Now for something entirely different. Inland, with not a drop of water in sight. Flying over Kenya's volcanic legacy is a very different bird of prey, hunting along the cliffs and over the mountains. It can fly. These rock antelope can run on tiptoe. The adults may be too big for the eagle, but a baby klipspringer is a possibility. One of the most productive homes for a bird of prey is the forest. Plenty of prey, but often difficult to see the food for the trees. Imagine searching this sea of vegetation if you're that bird of prey on the hunt. Again, a food chain. A huge variety of leaves for the colobus monkey. Itself a possible meal for a forest hawk. This is mountainous rain forest on Mount Kenya, home to some of the biggest animals in Africa. This is a small version. And buffalo, also at the waterhole for a drink and a wallow. Watching over all this is the eagle. And watching him from below is the owner of this smart tail, indeed a red-tailed monkey. All this from the smallest insect to the biggest elephant, from the fragile orchid to the tallest tree. Truly the rainforest. Food for herbivores. Itself possible food for a carnivore, a bird of prey. And there's parrot as a prey. Fruit flavour for an eagle. Unfortunately, Kenya has lost much of its wet forests, its so-called water towers, vital to the country's future. Lost as well, of course, is the biodiversity, not least the variety of birds of prey that depend on it. There's also a much drier kind of forest, including the well-known yellow-barked acacia trees. Even so, new species of small creatures are still being discovered in acacias. The auger buzzard is a very versatile species, but its numbers have fluctuated and no one seems to quite know why. Another puzzle whose solution may turn out to be important to humans. From dry forest to grasslands and roads, there's prey everywhere, if you know where and how to look. A Montagu's harrier does. The long grass hides small animals, many more than the big numbers so well known to tourists, such as zebras, antelopes and gazelles. A great attraction is that speedy gazelle hunter, the cheetah. He may be sleeping off a meal of venison, reared on grass. Like the forest, the grasslands of Kenya have been reduced by cutting, burning, and the pressure from an increasing human population. Fewer tourists will come as the wild places are reduced, and that means less income and jobs for the local people. A lonely baobab tree surrounded by bare soil, now washed into the river, Kenya's lifeblood. As seen from above by the vultures, whose own future is in doubt. This is, or was, one of the most important breeding cliffs for vultures in Kenya. Despite Hell's Gate Gorge being a national park, this has been allowed, so-called progress. The Chinese are helping with a huge geothermal project. Vultures are nature's clean-up squad. Their long-established, very steep home, seemingly safe up to now, is anything but. They're nervous birds. They prepare for takeoff, needing thermals, hot air currents, from the plains below. Then they set off across Kenya, up and away, a vital part of the ecosystem. After a messy meal somewhere, out on the grasslands, they gather with their stork equivalent, the beautiful marabou. Food for birds of prey is as varied as the places it lives in. Butterflies by a tree-lined crater lake, to the flamingos that filter algae from its waters. Termites that hatch in millions with the rains and burrow into the soil, itself another habitat, and shedding their wings in the process. You might be surprised at the size of the birds of prey that eat them. But evolution has helped the potential victims to survive. The prey is armed. Water bugs have spears and excellent vision. More passive is camouflage, hiding as a plant. Risky when you move, however it may be. This is another caterpillar, a looper. Colour can be the opposite, red for danger instead of green for hiding, or brown like a big moth. It's a mini jungle down there, in the flowers. Can you spot the locust and the tiny creatures on it? That's what certain birds of prey have to do, as we'll see. Catching a flying insect is a challenge, even when they're preoccupied. And flying through spray. Big dragonflies can make a good snack, but it takes a lot of skill to catch one. But there's one bird that's very good at it. Under the surface there might be plenty of food, but they're always looking out for danger from below or above. Moving up the animal kingdom from fish to amphibians, it would seem these rather passive creatures would make an easy meal. But they hide away, and some are toxic.
Yeah, that's good.
Onto reptiles.
Yeah.
Those that can change colour as required. A chameleon. Lizards and snakes are also on the menu for many birds of prey, despite their being poisonous. And amongst the birds descended long ago from the reptiles, that primitive example, the ostrich, has an extraordinary link with birds of prey and its huge eggs. At ground level there are millions of small mammals, often on the receiving end, apparently always nervous. A zorilla is another possibility as prey, though being like a skunk, its perfume is a deterrent, and black and white is a warning pattern. It's a predator itself, chomping on a mole cricket. Mammals, the most advanced animal group, include the monkeys and ourselves, from the tiny vulnerable dik-dik to the enormous giraffe. No bird of prey could kill a giraffe, but some can dispose of one very effectively, as we'll see. For millions of years, natural food connections have been the case. One species dependent on others for its food supply. But since humans took over the planet, this has changed. Certainly it has affected birds of prey. This is the age of plastic, an oil product. Human rubbish brings waste food. Monkeys benefit. And there are various birds of prey in Kenya that have also taken advantage of this bonus, while others have suffered badly because of us. Food is their future, and we move on from the smallest to the biggest. Based on the typical bird of prey, like the much bigger fish eagle, its talons and beak can deal with the appropriately pygmy prey, such as insects in the bush country. It's a pygmy falcon. And the little sparrowhawk catches little prey and is a rare sight out in the open like this. A little and great egret seem intrigued here in the marsh. Dragonflies can be caught over the water, and that superflyer falcon, the hobby, can do just that. There's one, and another. You might think this pretty quick and pretty agile, but there's an even more super hunter. The fastest bird there is, the peregrine falcon. He can stoop at up to 200 miles an hour. A pigeon would not know what hit him. This falcon, the kestrel, can hover, keeping its head rock steady in the wind. With the kestrel's excellent eyesight from above, the future of the mouse below is in doubt. Wind can be useful to other birds of prey, whereas these herons and ducks are sitting it out. Marsh harriers sway in the wind, hunting for whatever might make a meal, a frog, a bird, in fact almost anything that moves, size permitting. Sometimes the potential prey gets its own back by mobbing. In this case, a rare pallid harrier, a visitor from the Russian steppes. These medium-sized birds of prey, like this sparrowhawk, are perfectly equipped with fast, low-level flight and the tools of the trade, feet and beak. Any bird is fair game, be it a pigeon or a hoopoe, busy concentrating on its next meal. An auger buzzard is patient. But help is at hand. The auger buzzard is a very adaptable bird of prey, ranging far and wide, from bush to grassland, farmland to cliffs, and in this case to Hell's Gate Gorge, with its landmark Tower of Rock. This is a bird of prey restaurant. A small room with a view, with meat on the menu. And as it turns out, an easy meal for an orca buzzard. Below, a snake eagle. And a harrier hawk will try almost anything. Nest of a small bird, not really protected by thorns, against those specialised long legs. The harrier hawk must persevere to survive. On to the next opportunity. His legs can twist and turn into every hole, crack or crevice in these old acacia trees. Another raid, this time quite a big eagle, tackles the thorns. The owners, superb starlings, defend their nest to good effect. Some birds of prey save energy by just waiting and watching. After a while they move on. Check that place out and on again. Sometimes hidden, sometimes not. The long-crested eagle lives up to his name and really keeps a roving eye on what's going on down below. It pays to be versatile. Over the sea or over freshwater Lake Naivasha, the osprey can plunge on its prey, and in this classic case was doubly successful. Filmed in the USA, it's a reminder just how widespread the osprey is these days, having recovered from pesticide poisoning in the past. What humans do affects most birds of prey, as they are so much part of the food web of life. In Kenya, black kites have learned to live amongst people and benefit from our waste. They can dive right into Nairobi's busy traffic using their wings and flexible tail to maximum effect. There are winners and losers as we come to the bigger birds of prey, also opportunists, the vultures. These are hooded vultures, which used to be common in Kenya and would turn up to be fed with the sacred ibis and marabou storks. Very capable scavengers, all of them. Cleaning up after an impala seems an unlikely attraction, but the Egyptian vulture favours this kind of thing. When they migrate to Europe, as here in Spain, the droppings may be a different shape and flavour. In France, there's a tame Egyptian vulture that puts on a surprising show. It involves stones and an ostrich egg. Well, sort of. It's handmade.
Et un coup, vous l'avez vu, à fragiliser la coquille. S'il arrive à faire une brèche, il essaiera de l'agrandir avec son bec long et fin. Et si ça ne suffit pas, eh bien il rentre. Allez, votre femme, qui devrait également en visiter. On va proposer au de la musique.
Pour le rentrer dans une brèche, essayez de l'élargir et finir un petit crabe.
Il fait pas longtemps courir.
Vous pouvez le féliciter, notre autopercepteur, pour comprendre aussi sa grande intelligence.
And here is the same behaviour on show in England.
Oh, sod it.
You're not even aiming in the right direction. It's not a miss. You're in the wrong flipping county. And it's been studied for, God, it must be 60, 70 years now.
Back in Africa, the true home of the ostrich, Egyptian and hooded vultures have their own job at a carcass amongst the much bigger species. They are equipped with stronger beaks and long bare necks for inside work. The hooded vulture pecks around the edge, and up to 6 species of vultures can clean up this giraffe in no time. Well, that used to be the case. There's even a bone expert, the lammergeier, the bone breaker. This classic footage from the archive is a reminder of the days when all those vultures ruled the skies in Kenya and disposed of the potentially dangerous dead and decaying. Now poisons are being used in that food source, killing at random not only birds of prey but lions and leopards and other large animals. These essential assets evolved before man had made much impact. The eyesight, the beak, the feathers, the feet, plus enormous long wings have helped some of Kenya's birds of prey to do well. Up to now. It's also known as the bearded vulture, a bit wet at the moment. There could be poisons in the bones he eats, even in the water he drinks. The fact is that birds of prey are telling us what's gone wrong with the environment, and it's still going wrong. The fish they and we eat, like these tilapia, may warn us about what's happening to Lake Naivasha. Lake Naivasha has great potential to supply food not only to people, but in this unusual case to cormorants, eagles and egrets. Tilapia fish in a drying out bay in the lake is the main attraction. Fish eagles come to steal their catch, and the warning goes out. But it's the egrets that are the big surprise. Normally a quiet searcher of the shallows, on this occasion they go crazy for a fish dinner. Amazing. And of course the fish eagle, king of the lake, gets his prize too at the expense of those tireless cormorants. There's a lot of robbery here. Big fish eagle takes on Goliath heron, armed with a spear. And now we've reached the biggest birds of prey in Kenya. The crowned eagle can take monkeys, even small antelopes. And when the rains come, a much smaller prey attracts another big eagle. Tawny eagles and marabou storks snatch this bonus before the termites drop their wings and dig in to start a new colony. But it's back to the French show for the tallest, most extreme Kenyan native, the secretary bird. Here trampling on a snake, or at least a rubber one. From the fastest to the most powerful and the very well studied, to those that clean up, that can fish as well as any fisherman, that can soar with ease, or probe with great skill, and watch with an eagle's eye. They dive amongst us, amaze us with their techniques, be it with eggs, or snakes, or dropping bones to break them. Birds of prey are as varied as they are important to the health of their home, that is, the country of Kenya.